Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Now we will discuss flotation. Flotation is a very important process in terms of economy of the industrial world, and it has been used for a very long time in the recovery of metals and other inorganic raw materials at a very inexpensive way. Flotation initially originated from the field of mineral processing, and there it's usually termed as froth flotation. For many years, various particular solids other than minerals have been extracted from water, and they are based on the idea of rising gas bubbles as the transport medium. The attachment of bubbles to the particles transfer the solids from the body of water to the surface, where these bubbles form a froth from where they are scraped off. That's why the name froth flotation is used. As opposed to settling, flotation is a solid liquid separation technique that is applied to particles whose density is lower or has been lowered than the liquid they are in, so that they can float and they can be scraped off from the top, rather than settling, where we are interested in the particles to be separated to settle at the bottom. So it's opposite to that. So flotation is applied in water treatment, wastewater treatment, and also in recycling. Flotation works very similarly to the sink float processes, where density characteristics of the material with respect to that medium are used at the base of separation. Sometimes to enhance the separation, even a centrifugal field is applied or a centrifuge is applied. So flotation processes are based on the different surface wettability properties of the materials. This will be explained further in the coming slides. Flotation in recycling has limited use in separating shredded materials, but most importantly it is used for separating valuable materials from granular recycling feeds like slags. Slags are the material which are recovered during metallurgical operations. So this is the typical size range for different density materials which can be separated using flotation. It's a physico-chemical process where the gas bubbles are attached to the particles in the fluid mixtures and lifted by the bubble buoyancy to the top of the reactor, which is basically a flotation cell. There they form a froth, and from there it can be collected. So the basic idea here is to manipulate or adjust the apparent free surface energy with reagents and choosing the operational conditions in a way that difference between the particles to be separated and rejected particles become as large as possible. So basically we are changing the wettability of different materials here, and then using air to carry some of them to the top while the others remain in the fluid. So this depends also on the surface tension of the fluid itself. If the cohesion in the fluid is larger, cohesive forces are the forces among the molecules of the fluid which keep them together. So if the cohesion in the fluid is larger, then the adhesion between the surface and the fluid tends not to wet the surface, and gas bubbles will adhere to the surface. So when the cohesion of the fluid is larger, and the adhesion will be the force between will be the attractive forces between the surface and the fluid. When they are less, then the those particles will not be attached to this fluid, or they will not wet the fluid, but rather they would be attached to the gas bubbles, and that is how afterwards they will be lifted to the surface. So those surfaces which do not have a tendency, they do not have good adhesive forces for the fluid, in this case which is water, so they will be called as hydrophobic or water repelling. They dislike water in a sense. So mostly plastics have free surface energy in this range, 30 millijoules per meter square, which leaves them hydrophobic, and therefore their separation by flotation is very difficult. But most minerals have free energies in a very high range, and they can be easily wetted, or they are hydrophilic. The contact angle of flotation must be typically greater than 60 degrees. So now in the next slide I will explain what is contact angle, then this idea will be clearer. So this is the concept of contact angle. Here only you need to understand that this is a droplet of a liquid on a solid surface, and this is the tangent line, and this is the horizontal line. So the angle formed between this tangent line and the horizontal line is referred to as, this theta is referred to as contact angle. So what is the relation between the contact angle and the wettability? Imagine this droplet, which is a completely spherical droplet, the side view is circular. So this has no affinity for this solid surface. This is a liquid droplet and this is a solid surface, and this droplet is not wetting the surface. So here if we draw the tangent and the horizontal, so the angle will be 180. So if the contact angle is 180 degrees, it means that the liquid is not wetting the solid surface at all. So as the contact angle decreases from 180 to say 0 degrees, it means spreading or completely wetting. So it has a very good affinity. The liquid has very good affinity for the solid surface, and it will immediately spread on this surface and wet it. So that is the concept, and that is the relation of contact angle with the wetting. So moving on from 180, as the contact angle decreases, this is negligible wetting. Then the contact angle is 90, and then as the contact angle decreases from 90, we start to declare it in the wetting region. So when the contact angle is higher, it is partial wetting, and then it is complete wetting as the contact angle reduces to 0. So now, as this slide said, the contact angle for flotation must physically be greater than 60. So it will lie somewhat in this region, and this is the non-wetting. So when the liquid will not be able to wet the surface, only then the gas molecules will have the opportunity to attach to them and take those particles to the surface and form a froth. Reagents are used to manipulate the surface free energies or surface tension, and they are called the collectors. They contain a polar part that contacts with the mineral surface and a non-polar end that causes the change in the free surface energy or surface tension. The longer the hydrocarbon chain length, the stronger is the collector. So these are some examples of different types of chemicals that is used in the flotation processes to vary the surface tension of the fluid so that they can be used for different type of materials. For systems with electrochemical collector reactions, pH is the major controlling variable here. Selectivity can be obtained by floating minerals at given pH value. Selectivity is the ability to separate the materials, the ratio of desired material to the total or undesired material. Activators can enhance collector absorption and depressants inhibit collector absorption. So we have both type of materials. We can either enhance the absorption or we can inhibit the absorption depending upon our requirement. So there can also be some the machines which are used, they can be either mechanical, pneumatic or dissolved air devices. So there is whole lot of details of all the machines which are used for the purpose of flotation, but here just a quick overview of these machines are given. We are not going into the detail of these machines. In mechanical flotation, of course, the air is introduced via the mechanical stirrer, so it both mixes the suspension and it distributes air into in the form of bubbles. And during this turbulent mixing, the particles and bubbles collide and they are able to attach together if the contact angle is suitable, or in other words the wettability is suitable. In case of pneumatic cells, they have separate mixing chambers where the bubbles are dispersed by sparger or porous plates. So these are two different mechanisms which can be used to introduce air. Now next time we will discuss magnetic separations.